to the very first Trains Are Awesome live stream. My name is Tom, and I am currently on board Amtrak's Southwest Chief number 3. We're about a half hour out of Lamy, New Mexico, a half hour away from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Found out I've been misspelling Albuquerque most of my life, but that's only a little bit embarrassing. And as you can see, I am in the observation car. This is by far my favorite place to be, although I do also really like my coach seat. This was the first time for me ever to spend the night on board a train. I've been on an interrail trip in Europe before, but never actually had to take a sleeper train on that trip. And this is my first Amtrak long distance trip. So that's been really exciting. It's also setting my personal record for longest time on a single train, which was previously 10.5 hours on the railjet between Zurich in Switzerland and Budapest in Hungary. But I've already broken that record because I've been on this train for more than 24 hours and I've got another ways to go. I think the total without delays should be 43 hours. We haven't had much delay on this trip at all. We had a little bit yesterday in Iowa. We were waiting for a bridge to open so we could cross. No, the bridge was open, and we made that up overnight as we were speeding through Kansas. Only in America, yeah, true, but I lived in the Netherlands for a couple of years, and we have water everywhere, so we have bridges everywhere. So it's a common excuse for school. If you're late for school, you just say for the bridge to close. Me personally, because I commuted by train every day, my excuse was always, my train is late. Whether it was late or not, doesn't matter. This is a bad morality lesson for kids. But yeah, I would use the train as an excuse all the time. Yeah, so now we're running through the dry landscapes in New Mexico. It's a lot greener than I thought it was going to be, which is cool. Oh, I can just flip the camera here. There seems to be some sort of rock over there, and slowly but surely more and more towns are popping up as we are getting closer to Albuquerque over there. Anyways, if you have any questions for me, I'll probably be streaming until we reach Albuquerque. So if it's about like, who am I, or trains I've been on, trains that I want to be on, about our channel itself and like who all is involved, feel free to let me know in the comments to this live stream. Oh look. The houses all kind of have the same color here. So one comment I did have on a community post was the question of what's still on my bucket list. Now I do have an official Trains Are Awesome dream list of like railroad lines I really want to do. One of them is the Horseshoe Curve in Pennsylvania. It's a famous area on the Norfolk Southern line where trains, it's a hilly area, so there's a horseshoe curve, and it's a very busy railroad line. There's like 3 tracks. Amtrak's Pennsylvanian runs there, and then a bunch of Norfolk Southern freight trains. There's a funicular that goes up there, and I really want to go there and see the trains. And not too far from there is the big city of Pittsburgh that I've never been to, and then a tiny town called Johnstown, which has a funicular called the Incline, which is pretty much a house on tracks that goes up a hill. It has an area where you can park your car and hoist your car up the hill, and I just think that'd be so cool to ride. Oh, we're passing a rail runner station, the New Mexico Rail Runner Express. That's really cool. I hope I see some of those trains in Albuquerque when we get there. Anyways, other things that are on my bucket list is kind of anything in Switzerland. I've been on the Golden Pass line, which is beautiful, and I highly recommend that one that goes between Montreux and Interlaken, Highlands. This train trip would be so much more fun if it was with you, but I miss you, but I'm having fun. Anyways, Switzerland has so many cool things to do by train, and I've barely scratched the surface. What else? You know, I have a whole list, and then once I'm put on the spot, I don't know what to say. I want to take the Alpha Pendular train in Portugal and go from Lisbon to Porto, maybe. And in Porto, I want to ride the Porto Metro, which are pretty much glorified trams. Favorite tram system? I'll start with that one first. I'm a little bit biased. I love the trams in The Hague in the Netherlands, mostly because when I was 15 years old, I had the opportunity to run on one of the test runs with the brand new Siemens Avenio trams before they were ever in service, and so they kind of stole a place in my heart. Other tram systems I like. The one in Budapest is cool because a lot of the tram stops are in the middle of the road, and in order to cross the street you have to go into like an underground tunnel, which I think is kind of a cool system. And the trams in Budapest are also just incredibly long. And then in Tokyo they have this tram system called the Toden Arakawa line, which has recently been rebranded to the Tokyo Sakura tram. And the cool thing about this is it's pretty much the last remnant of what used to be an extensive tram network in Tokyo. It never shut down. For what reason, I don't really know. But it's still there, and it has a wide variety of both classic and modern trams that are on that line right now. And then there was the question of how comfortable is traveling by train. I mean, it depends on what train you're taking, but if I can speak for Amtrak, especially Amtrak long distance, I'm on a coach ticket, so I don't have a sleeper cabin. I'm sleeping in my chair. Which to some people sounds like a nightmare, to be honest. Like, I didn't know how I would feel about it, but I've already spent one night on the train, and it was very comfortable. The seats are really wide. Like, people that are used to European trains may shudder at the thought of having to sleep in a coach seat, but Amtrak is different. As you might be able to tell on the car I am right now, the loading gauge, the width of the train is much larger. I do recommend you bring your own blanket because it's powerful at night, but wrapped between a blanket, I slept through the whole state of Kansas. Maybe woke up only once or twice. I also had the advantage of not having someone next to me. Currently, coach passengers on Amtrak can't go into the dining car, which is a real bummer. I didn't know that. There's still a cafe in the bottom of this car. I tried one of their cheeseburgers. It was all right. So pack some of your own food too. But honestly, I haven't felt this relaxed in weeks, if not months. I can get up and walk whenever I want. There are so many cool people, especially if you're into trains. My experience on Amtrak is a lot of people that take Amtrak already kind of like trains. So, and even if they don't, I was talking to a veteran the other day and listening to his stories and talking to other people here. It's just such a cool way to meet a unique community. That, you know, you'd have to look harder for in other places. Lindsay asked me what's been my favorite state so far. I've traveled through Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, and New Mexico on this trip. I've been to more states in my life, but Illinois was fun because when you think Illinois, you think Chicago, and I love Chicago. Those of you who know me know that I love big cities. But to see that countryside aspect of Illinois, like to the point where you're actually surprised when you see a paved road instead of a dirt road. That's pretty cool. And then just seeing the Mississippi River, and it was right around sunset, and seeing that glisten, that was spectacular. Hi Hans, so good to see you. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. And then the question, what book did you bring? I should have brought it with me, but it's a book by Jim Loomis called, what's it called? Like a Rail Traveler's Guide to America, or a Guide to Rail Travel or something. Basically, it tells you the history of railroads in the US, tells you the history of Amtrak, and kind of how Amtrak saved passenger rail in the United States, but was also really screwing up at first, and what changed in management. And then it gives you practical tips about traveling by train. Some of them seem a little bit obvious. Some of them are things that I didn't know. Some of them are just plain, you just wanted to cram as much into this book as possible. Like there's a whole paragraph about a level crossing, why they're bound differently after a while. I'm about half through. I tend to only read it at night on my phone, because during the day there's so much scenery to see that I'm afraid I'm gonna miss it. So some scenery that I've seen so far is a herd of buffalo right outside of Las Vegas, New Mexico. There was a herd of buffalo grazing. I said the Mississippi River. There's a lot of bluffs and mountains and forests along this route, and I've heard that the best is yet still to come. We're about halfway through New Mexico right now, and we still have a little bit of Arizona before it'll get dark. So I've been reading that book during the evening hours from my comfortable coach seat. So I've been recording lots of videos on this trip, and the videos will appear on the channel probably sometime in the fall. I'm trying to upload as much as possible before August, because big personal life news, I'm getting married in 2 weeks, and I don't really want to be editing videos when I should be enjoying my time with my beautiful new bride. So I've been editing a lot of stuff that I've shot earlier this summer and that my family has shot in Europe for me, and I hope that will entertain you for the next couple of weeks. And then it's going to be so much fun once the school year starts again to open my video editor again, pull out all these Southwest Chief videos that I shot today, and just relive that trip, which is kind of what I hope you will be able to do too when you watch it. There's definitely more and more buildings showing up, but if there's one thing that rail travel in the States helps you appreciate, it's how big.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next station stop is Albuquerque, New Mexico. If Albuquerque is your stop, please do not come downstairs right now. We got plenty of time to step off. Once again, if everybody rushes down, we can't open the doors to let you out. So please stay in your seats until we do come to a stop in Albuquerque. Albuquerque is a crew change and maintenance stop for this train. All coach and sleeper car doors will open. You will not be able to exit from the lounge or the dining car. If you are in the lounge car and do plan on stepping off here in Albuquerque, please do not leave any items behind. For those of you who do not have credit card or debit, there is the Silver Street Market. It is across the street from the station. Again, go in front of the station, you'll see a dirt lot. And in front of that is the Silver Street Market. Just be careful at that four-way stop, ladies and gentlemen. That four-way stop is just a recommendation. It's like playing Frogger getting across that street, so please be careful. Also, it is Albuquerque, New Mexico, so if you do go walking around, the buddy system is highly recommended. We are in downtown Albuquerque after all. Maintenance personnel will be walking in and around the train. Please give them room to complete their job. To ensure an on-time departure from Albuquerque. Current local time is 3:21. We are on the Mountain Time Zone and will be until after Gallup, New Mexico. Current local time 3:21. Scheduled departure from Albuquerque is 4:19. We are getting in a little bit early, so it does appear an on-time departure will be in our foreseeable future. As always, and for the 1001st time, please wear your masks. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, mask
If
wearing
not, Albuquerque's
has been pretty
great
bad
place
on
to
this
step
train.
off. Once again, wear your masks. I'm tired of saying it, you're tired of hearing it, but please wear your masks. Albuquerque, New Mexico coming up. If you do have checked baggage, it will be available at the checked baggage claim. That is on the north side of the station. When you step off the train, hang a right, go to the north end, the right side of the station, you'll see the baggage claim. And have your baggage claim available to expedite the process. Albuquerque, New Mexico coming up in just under 10 minutes.
Okay, so some questions that I got while that announcement was going on.
Also, those in the coaches, we will be filling up quite a bit here in Albuquerque. Please do not. Please do not take up more than one seat.
Never collaborated with other YouTubers,
We will
but I would love to do
from here on
so.
out. I'm not sure what the sleepers are looking like, but you can go inside the station there and see about upgrading if you'd like.
I don't have money to do that, so thank you. But also I found out you can open these Amtrak doors with your foot. As for the question of how many countries have I lived in and how many languages do I speak, I have lived in the Netherlands, I have lived in Japan, and I'm currently living here in the United States, the state of Michigan to be specific. Thank you. I would definitely love to.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Michael here in the cafe. Folks, the heads up once we stop in Albuquerque. The cafe will be closed while we are stopped. It is a major service stop for train.
So yeah, I've lived in the Netherlands, Japan, and the United States, and I speak 5 languages, which sounds great until you realize that means you mix them up all the time.
The cafe will be closed while we're stopped here in Albuquerque, and then we'll reopen
And then
after our departure. Thank you.
the question about riding night trains in Europe, I really want to. When my friend and I were planning our Interrail trip 3 years ago, the idea was to add night trains in there, but ultimately they didn't go where we wanted to go, and so we had to forfeit that dream. But next time I go to Europe, I'd love to ride the Nightjet. I've heard Nightjet is really good, and now they do depart from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, so if I'm visiting family in Holland, then, I mean, why say no to a quick trip to Austria? And I would love to ride sleepers also in other parts of Europe that might not be covered by the Nightjet network. I don't know, what do you guys think about all the new, like, companies that are starting sleeper trains in Europe? Like, you have European Sleeper, and I think you have like Green Travel or something. Do you think they'll make it? I'm hopeful they do, and variety on the tracks is always nice, but sometimes I feel like we don't live in the greatest time for rail transport anymore. But when I look at, like, the fact that I'm taking a transcontinental train right now, no, I actually have never ridden a train in the UK other than the Eurostar and the Tube. So I would love to do that. I am a poor college student, and that is a pipe dream that is years away. But one can dream, Kenny. Oh yeah, so I'm on a transcontinental train, and I'm just thinking about, like, in the 19th century, people just built these. Like, people were like, oh, it's 3,000 miles. Let's. Yeah, excited. Sorry, I think it cut off, but I'm not sure. So I'll just finish my train of thought. I feel like the steps it takes these days to build even small railroad extensions, I feel like if we had that mindset when we were building the railway network, there would have never been a railway network like there is now. The European sleeper train movement is a very positive one. I think there should be a Amsterdam to Zurich night train service by December. Also, right here, we are looking at downtown Albuquerque. Also, the nice thing about the Southwest Chief is we actually run at higher speeds for most of the journey, which that video footage right there was not a good witness of. But an exception was the Raton Pass. When we were climbing up to the highest point of the route from Colorado to New Mexico, we were going very, very slow. But that was fine because that was honestly the most scenic part of the journey so far, was the Raton Pass. There's also several places in Germany that I would like to visit when it comes to trains. Kassel being one of them, or Karlsruhe, where they have trams running on actual train tracks.
Ladies and gentlemen, now arriving Albuquerque, New Mexico. Current local time 3:29. Scheduled departure is 4:19. So if you are continuing west, please be back and in your seats before 4:19. Thank you.
And then I also really want to go back to Japan one day and ride a bunch of the train lines that I haven't been on, and even some lines that I have been on that have new trains now. Like, if you have the chance to Google it, I would Google the Seibu. It's called the Laview, Laview, and this train looks like a silver bullet, and it's got huge windows, and the idea of the train is to reflect the scenery that it runs through. And the cool part about it is this train runs on the railroad tracks that I used to use as a kid every day. Anyway, we are at Albuquerque Station. I think I'm gonna get off the train because we have an hour here, and take you guys with me just for a little bit. We'll explore some things, and then I'm gonna see if I can grab some dinner somewhere. And I really appreciate those of you that have tuned in and those of you that have been commenting. I know this might be a lower quality live stream than some of the things you may have watched, but this is my very first time experimenting with this feature on YouTube, and I kind of like it. Also, so grabbing my backpack just in case. That's the seat I was on. So as you can see, we've got 2 coach superliners, an observatory superliner, a restaurant superliner, and 2 sleeper superliners. Let's go walk up to the P42 DC engines. Also, the reason I have my backpack with me is just because I'd rather have my valuables by me. And I trust people, but also I don't. So I like to spend a lot of my day in the observatory car, but I also want to keep my seat. Look, there's vendors on the platform. So what I do is the stations are far enough apart that I leave my things at my seat when I go to the observatory car, but when we're approaching a station, I go back to my seat, usually grab a snack or my phone charger or whatever, just to keep an extra eye on it. And then at longer stops like here in Albuquerque, I just take it with me because I don't want to be by the door the whole time. There's a crap ton of sirens out here. We're almost by the engines. Oh, looks like they're refueling. Pumping some of that good old diesel into that P42. If you guys have any more, if you guys have any more questions for me, I think I'm gonna stay online for another 3 minutes or so, and then we'll call it a day. This is Albuquerque. Actually, that's Albuquerque. Also, the interesting thing about the Southwest Chief is it's always loaded up with Boy Scouts. There's some big Boy Scout thing in Raton, New Mexico. So from Kansas City all the way to Raton, my coach was full of Boy Scouts. And then in Raton they all left and I was like, oh, it's very quiet here now. And then a bunch of Boy Scouts returning to California got on. I'm excited to go to California. I have a couple hours in Los Angeles before I need to fly back to Michigan. And I've been to 41 states, and California is not one of them. LA Express, hey. Are you from LA? Do you have any recommendations for me? Yeah, so one new state on this trip for me was Kansas. And then I'd been to Colorado and New Mexico, but I have not been to Arizona. So by tonight, oh, you're not from LA. Well, I'm sorry for assuming. So by tonight, I will have added Arizona to my list. And there are opportunities to get off the train. Oh, I do like Florida. Don't think I could live there, but I have a cousin who lives there, and her place is a great place to escape if Michigan gets too cold or filled with too much drama. Alright, so I am going to leave the Southwest Chief behind me for about half an hour, and probably you guys too, but remember, every Thursday is when I upload videos to Trains Are Awesome. I think this coming week will either be about Florida or about TexRail in Houston. My brother Bear shot those videos, so I just gotta see which one I'll finish editing first. Thanks so much, you guys, for watching and also for subscribing to Trains Are Awesome. We're almost at 2,000, and I'm proud of that. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it, I'm proud of that. You can follow me to Los Angeles. This video will be up in the fall. Also, there is no train service to Las Vegas yet. I know they're working on Bright Rail West. When that's ever gonna happen, I don't know. I was talking about that earlier, how it seems like train projects just cannot come off the ground anymore. I did stop at Las Vegas, New Mexico a couple hours ago, and the conductor was like, if you thought this is where you could go to the casino, you're dead wrong. Okay guys, have a good night. See you later.